Good morning and welcome to Kids Time. I hope you've all had a great week this week. Did you remember it's Father's Day today? Try and be good for your dad or those men who have an important role in your lives. In today's Kids Time, we're going to look at 2 Bible stories and we're going to be thinking about how God's power works in unexpected ways. Here is today's first story. It's about David and Goliath and it's found in 1 Samuel chapter 17. That's in the Old Testament. Let's listen. 1 Samuel 17. Sometime later, Israel fought the Philistines. A giant Philistine soldier called Goliath challenged the Israelites to send a champion to fight him. The Israelites were too afraid. David had brought food for his brothers and the Israelite army. David heard Goliath's challenge. He wasn't afraid. How dare he defy God's army, he thought. I will fight him, David said. King Saul offered David his armour. David didn't want the armour. He could kill wild beasts. All he needed was stones and a sling. David knew God would help him. Goliath said to David when he saw him, "Am I a dog? You send me a stick of a boy to fight me?" David replied, "You have a spear, but I have the help of Israel's God." David put a stone in the sling and threw it towards Goliath's head. It hit him on the forehead. Goliath fell to the ground. The Israelites had defeated the Philistines. With God's help, David was a hero. David did have the advantage that he had God on his side. When we have God on our side, we can face any giant, any problem that might come up. We all have giants in our lives, even as adults do too. A giant is something that seems too big for us to handle. Maybe it could be exams, fallout with friends. How does God help us with these problems? By being there for us to talk to, and He will strengthen us. Our second story is found in Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. And it's about Jesus and a storm at sea. Here it is. Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. On the evening of the same day, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's go across the other side of the lake." So they left the crowd. The disciples got into the boat which Jesus was already sitting in, and they took him to the other side. The boats were there too. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, and the waves began to spill over into the boat. Jesus was at the back of the boat sleeping, with his head on a pillar. The disciples woke him and said, "Teacher, don't you care that we are about to die?" Jesus stood up and commanded the wind, "Be quiet." And he said to the waves, "Be still." The wind died down and there was a great calm. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Why are you frightened? Have you got no faith?" But they were terribly afraid and said to one another, "Who is this man? Even the wind and waves obey him." The disciples were Jesus' closest followers. They went everywhere with him. They heard him teach, him heal and do amazing miracles. But while they were on the boat in the middle of the storm, they forgot who Jesus was. They forgot to have faith. They forgot Jesus was with them because he was sleeping. They thought they were going to die. But Jesus is God. He was watching over them while he was sleeping. The disciples were afraid because of the storm. This was not good. They had stopped trusting in God and in Jesus. What can we learn from this story today? Jesus has authority over everything. The wind and the waves obeyed his voice. He is God. He wants us never to forget him, never to lose our faith or trust in him. We know this because we read our Bible and we say our prayers. And when we are sleeping, He is watching over us and keeping us safe. No matter what happens in our lives, God is always there, always going to be there right beside us. He has everything in His control, and He's never going to let us down. Remember before I was talking about those giants in our lives? Well, God is still with us, whatever we face in life. I want you to remember that whenever you feel like you have a giant that you might not be able to face, or you think you are in a storm, imagine Jesus has His arms around you so tight, keeping you safe. His arms are always around you when you are afraid. And remember, He is there and holding on to you closely in His arms. Let's say a prayer. Dear God, please help us to remember that You are always there for us. Even when we feel we are on our own and things are going wrong for us, we need to remember that we are in Your hands and You are holding us close and protecting us. Amen. So kids timers, I want you to remember that it's Father's Day today and to be good for your dads. Have a great week. Remember, be good, stay safe and stay connected. God bless you all. Hi kids timers, here is a puzzle to help you with today's story about David and Goliath. See if you can find everything that it asks you to. Have fun!